Well, welcome to the first of the Great Run series of 2015 in Weskoppies in Pretoria West. Field of around about 5, maybe 700 or so athletes. My name is Manfred Seidler. I'm joined by Mabena. I'm going to take you through this 10-kilometer race.
Thank you so much, Manfred. My partner in crime agreed with you there. 700 plus runners we estimate here this morning. It is the second race on the AGN calendar. However, in terms of the Great Run series, it is the fifth of the fourth of the year.
Well, and certainly a tough race. If we look at how they're going away, we're going straight into an uphill, and a lot of youngsters, I like to see this going straight and hard into the race. We have a couple of big names, Gladwin Mzazi, Mohale, and they will probably come through to the fore a little bit later, but good to see early on in the season, the guys are not scared, they're taking it on, and this is not an easy course.
Guess who I saw who decided to embrace the race in Pretoria? Samuel Sekhwaba, all the way from Bloemfontein, and I was looking at his legs, I could see only muscle and no fat, so it's going to be fireworks this morning here in Weskoppies.
Well, Cornelius Lagat is one of the athletes in this field, all the way from Kenya, running for Global Club.
Okay, my name is Cornelius Lagat from Kenya. Club, I'm running for Global Athletics here, South Africa. First of all, good morning, and I'm happy to be here for this day. What I'm planning for this day is to run a good race, maybe to improve my time. I've seen a couple of guys whereby we shall like each other, maybe looking forward to run 29.
Back with the men's race, and what I like about this race is it's all enclosed within the Weskoppies grounds. You don't have to worry about traffic marshals or traffic officials, and certainly a lot of safety there for the runners.
Good for the organizers there, and I was told the route is also friendly for those pushing prams with the kids. I've seen a whole lot of those, because early in the year it's not only about the win, it's also about entertainment for those so-called achterste osse.
Lovely shooting into the sun.
Well, that then is the chasing pack, and right out front they're good to see Donald Matipa coming back into some shape here, into some good form. There right next to him, Mohale, and you can see the Kenyan behind him. Still no sign yet of Gladwin Mzazi. He'll be lurking in the background, but Donald really coming through quite nicely, training very hard. I believe he's running a marathon in March.
Thank you for informing me there. Donald is also our partner in crime, Manfred. He now and then does commentary work, and I thought it was good for him to feel the pain that the runners feel, so that when he's out there commentating and doing some criticism, he would know what it feels like. But guess who I'm spotting there behind the man in the white socks? It is Ludwig Mavavolo, former Comrades winner, second last year and seventh in 2013. He's here as well. He's also a former Comrades winner and multiple gold medalists. I see he is in the thick of things up there at the front with the chasing bunch.
Well, Ludwig Mavavolo is aiming for an international marathon in March. Donald Matipa said he wants to run the Gaborone marathon. And something very interesting happening there. We can just see in the picture going out a little bit back is Ludwig Mavavolo in the colours of Nedbank. In the background there, and running in the colours of Nedbank, Altus Bardnor certainly coming along very, very nicely since he joined the group of Michael Sponge Seme.
Desember het ek baie afstand gedoen en so ek gebruik hierdie reis en al hierdie reise aan die begin van die jaar nou om bietjie op te skerp met spoed en so, en om teen 'n vinniger pas bietjie speed endurance en so te doen. So ja, en vir hierdie jaar wil ek graag my 10 km tye en halfmarathon tye afkry. So ja, so dit is die main goal vir nou, is net om op te skerp en om my 10 km tye af te bring. Dit is ongelooflik om saam ouens soos Mzazi en Mokoka en Benedict Moeng en so te oefen, want hulle is baie nederige ouens en mens leer baie by hulle. Hulle het altyd tyd vir jou en hulle leer jou baie van oefentegnieke en wanneer om watter sessies te doen en so ek leer baie en dit is regtig 'n wonderlike ervaring.
Well, there we have it. 3 minutes into the race, we must have passed the first kilometer mark, and we saw Precious Mashele, the current SA half marathon champ, together with Gladwin Mzazi, the SA cross-country champ, pulling away from the rest of the field. And just behind them, the man in white socks is Collen Mailola, all the way from Tembisa. He is the twin to Africa Mailola, and I was promised by Kotso, the coach, that he is going to show us miracle from these two twins. Who is it going to be? And in the fourth position, it was Alexander Motoni, who slowly picked up weight. He's got a 2:29 on a marathon last year. Let's see who is it going to be, but the race is taking shape, Manfred.
Well, Lucky Mohale did say before the race he wants to win this. He did 28 kilometers the day before, so the legs will be heavy, but you always know when he's in the race, it's honest, it's hard, it's fast. He doesn't hold back. He knows only one way to race, and that's from the front, and he certainly is delivering right now. But he might have gone a little bit too early. We're on a downhill. We're going to go out of the grounds of Weskoppies soon, and then it's going to start becoming a little bit of a climb. So we'll see how those 28 kilometers are in the legs of Lucky Mohale. That's the first lady, and Kataza Shipalana is certainly looking really, really good. A personal best of 37.05. She said she wanted a 36 high, which would be a PB. But I tell you what, she seems to be flying right there.
Great stuff indeed. She used to be in TUT and now she's running in the colors of Transnet, and just next to Kataza is the junior. Welcome, Lubisi.
Okay, ek het nie eintlik iets beplan vir die wedloop nie, want dit is my eerste wedloop vir die jaar, maar ek gaan dit net om dit te geniet.
Well, lady of few words, but pretty good pedigree, 1500 meter bronze medalist in 2013. But right now, certainly leading the pace, Kataza Shipalana looking very, very good there.
You can see the partnership between Kataza as well as Welcome Lubisi, both of them running for Transnet Engineering Athletic Club, and I reckon Welcome must be pacing for Kataza to reach her sub 37 that she's aiming for.
Also in the race, Manfred Mens.
Okay, ek het net van 'n rus af gekom, so ek het hierdie week maar net gedraaf. Ek gaan dit vandag maar net rustig vat en net dit geniet. Ja, dis al hoekom ek gekom het. Dis nou nie om te gaan reis nie, maar net om elke oomblik te geniet.
Well, taking it out hard there, Precious Mashile. No race number, so clearly not racing here today. Looks to me like he's taking this as a very hard training session, maybe just to see where he's at.
Most probably, see, since he came back from an injury, he doesn't race too much, but when he gets to the race, he does his thing, and I think I admire him for that. We're 7 minutes into the race, so we've obviously passed the 2 kilometer mark long ago. Leading the pack now is Precious Mashile. Next to him, Lucky Mohale, seemingly working very hard, and he's indicated he ran 28 kilometers recently. Could it be his sins coming back to bite him? I'm not sure about that. Cornelius Lagat just next to him, the Kenyan international, is right there at the front, together with Gladwin Mzazi, running in a temporary license, and his personal sponsor, Adidas.
Well, leading the ladies' race, certainly all on her own and doing all the hard work. Kataza Shipalana out of Weskoppies now, and a little bit of a downhill still. She is about to hit the uphills, and be interested to see if she's able to maintain this pace. What is intriguing to me, Aaron, is the fact that she's running on her own, maintaining a good pace. She's not surrounded by guys which could be pulling on. So this is a solid effort.
Absolutely, absolutely. It does take mental strength, and interesting enough, Welcome Lubisi, the junior, who I had thought would partner with her, has pulled away. Could this be a tactic from him to pull her and make her work as hard as he could? But back to the race leaders, and I'm handing over to you, Manfred, to take us through the gentlemen.
Well, it's Precious Mashile certainly really putting the hammer down here. Look at him go. And he's such a stocky, powerful athlete. Lucky Mohale is beginning to struggle. We have said he looks gangly and awkward, but that's his running style. In the background there, we can see Gladwin Mzazi just coming to the fore. Also coming out of a marathon in December. He hasn't trained much, so this is going to be a big tester for him. But certainly Precious Mashile, well, you know, he is a talented athlete. He's run a 28:23 for the 10 kilometers, so he's no slouch at all, and does seem to be controlling this race quite comfortably.
8 minutes into the race, would be heading for the 3 kilometer mark, and in the third position is Collen Mailola. Fourth position would be Cornelius Lagat, the Kenyan international. That's the leading bunch so far, with some 20 seconds gaps in between them. We just passed the 3 kilometer mark, 9 minutes. That is 3 minutes on the dot, consistent, said earlier.
Well, the worst part of the race still to come as they go through the first water point. They've got a very, very steep climb to come, almost a kilometer in length, that climb, and steep. So it'll be interesting to see just how the athletes and the runners cope with that. And from then on, it's pretty much undulating and downhill. But this is by no means an easy course. And Precious Mashile, yeah, he's not racing. He's not wearing a race number, so he's going to have to pull off the course at some stage. But he certainly is making the other guys work for their money. And I wonder if they're just not letting him go because he's not really racing. He's not part of the actual race. Or they're just going to try and catch him a little bit later. But Precious certainly really dominating this race. As we can see, now we're beginning to climb a little bit.
Remember, Precious and Gladwin are in the same club, and could this be a tactic that Precious, you pull away, you destroy them and kill them, and I'll come in slowly? As we can see, Gladwin coming in slowly. He's now running shoulder to shoulder with Lucky Mohale, and as you said earlier, Manfred, Lucky seems to be battling a bit, and I won't be surprised if I see Gladwin chopping Mohale into pieces and falling into the footstep of
Well, Gladwin is a class athlete. You really can't deny that. He has recently run his debut marathon. This is the second lady, the junior Hanli Etsebeth, and really looking pretty good out there in the field. Glad to see a lot of juniors and youth athletes running here in these 10K road races. A 2014 Gauteng Schools champion at Hoërskool Monument, the head girl there. So really a classy all-rounder and not just a good athlete, but obviously quite a bit of brains there as well. But Hanli Etsebeth, at this point in time, running in the second position.
Thanks for that, Manfred. 10 minutes into the race now. The race leaders must have clearly passed the 3 kilometer mark, going for the 4th kilometer mark. Now, something crosses my mind, talking about Precious Mashele, working very hard out there, yet he's got no license and he's not competing. That he's actually the defending cross-country trial champ, and those championships are coming up 31 January. And could this be part of his training program?
Well, it probably would be. I know the guys are really going to go out hard at those cross-country trials. They have some big plans for the World Cross-Country Championships. But I really like the look of this young girl, looking very strong and showing a bit of a heels to the youngster behind him. There we go now. This is the climb. This is the long, steep climb. And Mohale looking really good. But as you said earlier on, Gladwin and Lucky are going to try and chase him. And I think it has been driven by Gladwin. He seems to be the one who really is pushing a little bit more. Lucky looking over his shoulder. He always does that. You never can tell if he's suffering, but he does look to be suffering right now. As you can see, Gladwin's beginning to open up that little bit of a gap.
100% agreed with you there in terms of Lucky's running style, constantly looking back, and you can never know whether is he panicking, who's coming behind. But far from behind is Collen Mailola in the white socks, and just behind Collen is the Kenyan international Cornelius Lagat, and just behind them is Alexander Mutoni in the colors of Transnet. Here we have our junior lady.
Hanli Etsebeth running all on her own, and clearly there's a fairly big field in the back, but in terms of the elite runners and the top runners, they're still taking it easy. They will still be coming in a little bit later, but Hanli Etsebeth really looking pretty comfortable, and I see catching the young man from Transnet. But also in this race, Comrades marathon athlete is Riana van Niekerk, and looking pretty strong as she closes down on Hanli Etsebeth.
Nee, ons het hard geoefen in die vakansie en ek heb kilo's ingesit en ek is op plan om net my straai te kry en te begin en verder aan maar net die bulte rustig op te vat en die laaste 3 kilo's te stoot en dis dit.
Well, this is the long steep hill, and it's the chasing pack. And up ahead we have always still got Precious Mohale and Gladwin Mzazi looking to close down that gap. And Aaron, that is a tough climb to go. You know, we're not even at 5Ks yet, and you can see the guys really struggling.
Absolutely, and it comes halfway into the race. With 14 minutes into the race, is between 4 and 5 kilos. The guys would not have warmed up really with 10 kilometers. If you don't do a proper warm up before the race, you only warm up at around 6 kilometer mark. Now we see the leading lady, Kataza Shipalana, in the colors of Transnet, leading the pack there.
And just passing her, there was Ntutu Letseka of Kudu's Athletics Club. Very active on social media as Ntutu, and I really like engaging him. Very intelligent. But those are our race leaders right now. And Precious Mohale has now been joined by Gladwin Mzazi, who also seems to me, Gladwin doesn't seem to be the smoothest of runners. If you look at Stephen McCorker, he's very smooth, he's very fluid. Alroy Galant is another one of those that doesn't look smooth. But Mzazi, without a doubt, an absolute class athlete.
Training has been just okay, but it was just one of those recovery runs after my marathon, so I'm still taking it easy. But as from Monday, I'll be back to normal training, 2 sessions per day, but the past 2 weeks I've been just doing my morning runs, so this race just came here to enjoy, but as from Monday, I'm back to normal training.
Well, I find it quite amusing that he's here to enjoy it, and he's certainly pushing the pace here. But these are the chasers, and there are the kilometre splits. So quite up and down, clearly indicative of the course and the climbing in the hills. 3:19 between 4 and 5 kilometers, so tough kilometer that.
Rightfully so, as you said, between 4 and 5 kilos, that's the longest and toughest climb. You can see by the time 3:19, yet the rest of the kilos they've been able to break sub 3 minutes a kilo. Now, behind Gladwin Mzazi, as you can see, Precious Mashele and Gladwin Mzazi leading the race there. That is the damage that was done by Gladwin Mzazi on Lucky Mohale. As you can see, he's now dropping back to 3. He's being overtaken by Collen Mailola, who's the man that's not so fast. Collen Mailola, he's more of an ultra marathon runner. Next to him, Cornelius Lagat, the Kenyan international.
Yeah, my name is Lucky Mohale, so I'm planning to win this race. So my plan is to qualify for the World Champs this year. So that's what I'm preparing for now. I'm preparing for a marathon overseas. I was doing 30 Ks yesterday, so today's 10 Ks. I'm still on program. I'm feeling able to win that one because it's a home ground advantage, so I'm able to win that one.
Well, Lucky obviously referring back to the Tom Tembisa 10 kilometer, which is part of the street mile, but really did run very well there. Now, sort of the guys in 5th, 6th and 7th, as we move forward through to the front runners, they're still looking good, but Gladwin Mzazi certainly is the man to beat here today.
Absolutely, we've passed the halfway mark, and the way he was able to close that big gap between himself and Precious Mashele tells that Gladwin Mzazi is in great shape, although he said earlier he just came to enjoy. Here we see Cornelius Lagat. I think he will be in the 4th position. 3rd would still be Collen Mailola in the colors of Nedbank, and the 1st would remain between Precious as well as Mzazi running shoulder to shoulder.
Well, Collen Mailola running there with Lucky Mohale. Lucky Mohale just looks like he's trying to hang on there. But this guy is just so deceptive. You really don't know if he's struggling or not. I've said this before, but I wouldn't bet against him right now. He's sitting, he might be going through a bad patch. He was walking at one stage. His mouth is open. You can see he's struggling, but don't write this man off. He may very well go past Collen Mailola a little bit later. And training for a marathon overseas, and the World Champs. So obviously a lot of mileage in their legs as we switch to the front runners, and they look so smooth. I really like the look of Precious Mashele. He does just look like a really good athlete, and I think we're still going to see the best of him to come in the next few years.
It does look like a long downhill. The time 8 minutes into the race, they've clearly passed the 6 kilometer mark. There's now 4 kilometers to go. Precious Mashele, shoulder to shoulder with Gladwin Mzazi. 3rd position is between Collen Mailola as well as Lucky Mohale, and who's going to break away from there? Further down in the field is Cornelius Lagat, the Kenyan international.
Well, these downhills have got to hurt. This is actually a very punishing course, because as you come down these downhills, you do really try and open up. And if you're not strong and if you haven't trained for downhill running, you are going to suffer. It's a big gap now between these two and who's running in 3rd and 4th. We can't actually even make out who's in the background there. But certainly you can see some of the back markers who are enjoying this race climbing up a bit of a hill, whilst our 2 leaders really just thunder out to the front here. Gladwin Mzazi, you just never know as well with him if he's going to have a good race. To me, he's been a bit erratic. He's got some really good times. I mean, a 61:12 personal best in the half, 28:22 in the 10. He is a class athlete. But to run a 2:17 marathon, it just doesn't make sense to me. He just doesn't seem to have the consistency, and that's a bit worrying for me.
Indeed, 2:17 in a marathon. We had actually put our money on him to come with one of the best times, and South Africa was looking up on him to bring us that, and he didn't live to the expectations. But however, if you recall, as Stephen Mugwaga at the Olympics, he stuck with the Kenyans, and we thought he was bringing us the best time. But at 32, when he fell off the pace, I think he decided, let's just jog home, and he might have done exactly that.
Well, there's certainly a change of guard just under 20 minutes into the race. Lucky Mohale has now moved into 3rd, so he's obviously found his 2nd win. But these 2 guys, well, they certainly are flying at this point. Whereas there's the Kenyan going through, that's Cornelius Lagat, and the rest of the men coming through. As the back markers go out and trundle up one of the steep hills. This Weskoppies, obviously a lot of old buildings. It's a great setting to run in. And now we're beginning to approach, well, round about the 7 kilometer mark. And I just wonder, Aaron, what is happening here? Is Precious pacing Gladwin Mzazi here? He has to pull off at some stage. Are they going to be talking to other? What's going on here, do you think?
They are teammates to start with. They're in Transnet. They train together at Tex. They all belong in the stable of Sam Seme, Coach Sponge Seme.
Well, that's the runners at the back of the field climbing up this hill, and you can see how steep it is. Really, they are struggling. But I take my hat off out to people. This is the 3rd of January, and a lot of people are still getting rid of that overindulging from the New Year's Eve parties, and some people walking, but they're out there. And remember, it's going to be a very hot day today, or rather on the 3rd of January. It was pretty hot, and the race started at 7 o'clock, so these are the athletes, these runners, they're going to feel the heat, they're going to suffer. But again, they're out there and they're doing what they love. It's really good to see this bunch of people on the roads. I've got to ask you, Aaron, we're seeing Gladwin and Precious going through some of the back markers of the fun run. As a runner yourself, there's a classic example. Do you find that it's a problem for you, or you just carry on with your race and motivate and keep going?
Look, it is taxing at the speed that you are pushing to have to duck and dive in between the slow runners can be really taxing, but everybody would be facing the same circumstances, so one cannot make use of that excuse not to win. You can bring that in if you drop a couple of seconds and you are going for a good time that you can bring in.
Well, Gladwin Mzazi, the South African student half marathon champion. He also went on to win the World Half Marathon, or rather the World Student Half Marathon Championships in 2014. So he's really got some class, and this is our leading lady. She's doing it all on her own, and that is hard, that is tough. There's no one around her, there's no one to pace off, and she looks like to be running a really good time. Behind her, that's the man from Kudus, Untitled Chapter. He's looking for a time around about 36.5 or so minutes, and with Kataza Shipalana, maybe she will be dragging him to one of the faster time. I know he likes to go for sub 36. That's his goal. He needs to try and hang on to her, because I guess and I feel that she's going to be going closer to a low 36 as opposed to a high 36. Looks very strong. Tell me a bit more about this Transnet stable of yours. You've got some good athletes there.
Manfred, the reason why she's going so hard is that sub 37 minutes means a whole lot to her. She needs 37:30 to qualify to be in the elite team of 2015. This is the time of the year where we are assembling the team. That's why Precious is going that hard. That's why we have got Gladwin going that hard. That's why we've got Kataza Shipalana going that hard to make the time, qualifying time, and to make the elite team of 2015.
Well, my money's on her breaking that 37.5. In fact, breaking 37, maybe even going 36 low. Gladwin Mzazi and Precious Mohale, they now are approaching the last 2.5 kilometers, and really not giving anything up. Precious has decided, you know what, I'm not going to hand this to you. You're going to have to work for this, and clearly not intimidated by his more senior and more experienced co-runner.
For him today, there's nothing to win or to lose because he has not paid for the registration. He's just joking.
What if you call that jogging? I'd hate to say what is sprinting, was those two guys are really moving. Gladwin has said that he wants to go out and win the South African 10-kilometer championship title. That's coming up at the end of February. He and his compatriots with under Sponge Sema are looking to run really well at the cross-country trials coming through at the end of January. They're looking for a spot not only on the World Championship team to the World Cross-Country Champs, they're looking for a podium, a team podium. And I really love to see this. Once again, Kataza Shipalana still going strong, but it does seem to me she's slowed down a little bit. Maybe this is a bit more of a flat as opposed to a downhill, and maybe she's just beginning to struggle a bit.
In fact, it looks like a bit of a poisonous climb there. It had slowed her down. She looked very fast going down the downhill, but he seems to be working a bit hard here with 24 minutes into the race. As a lady, 3:30 a kilo, she could be at her 6-7 kilometer mark.
We're back with the two leading men, 25 minutes into the race, so we've probably got another 5 or so minutes before these two come into the finish line area. Gladwin does look to be taking a bit of strain. He did run that marathon, the Fukuoka Marathon, early in December, the first weekend in December, and hasn't done much since then. So this will be a good test for him to see where he's at in terms of his fitness. And he is being tested by his training partner. And I really like to see it, that although they are training partners, when you're on that road, it's war. There's no, I'm just going to let you win because you're supposedly the better athlete or you're the more senior athlete. You want to win, you have to beat me. And I like this. I like to see what's happening now in South African middle distance running. It's looking good. Stephen Mokoka, Gladwin Mzazi, Precious Mohale coming through now. Obviously, Alwegeland. It looks like middle distance running in South Africa is back on the up again.
Absolutely, we have the cream of the crop in this country. Now, this two has completely broken away from the duo of Collen Mailola as well as Lucky Mohale. I would be interested to see what's happening down there at the Bay, because between those two, there's money up for grabs. But between Precious as well as Mzazi, we know Precious is not wearing a license, so he's not going for a win. Mzazi, no, it's backed as long as he just maintain the position, maintain his calm. With 26 minutes into the race and run about less than 4 minutes to go before the race is concluded.
Well, Gladwin Mzazi, we know, will have won this race. He is so far ahead of anybody else. It's just a matter of how fast does he go. It's also a question of how fast is this lady going to go. Kataza Shipalana, as we said, was looking for a really fast time. And this is now where it starts to really hurt for these two athletes. It's a lot of downhill, Gladwin and Precious Mohale, a lot of downhills there, and your legs take a hammering. And we now are approaching the last kilometre and a half of this race. And there goes Gladwin Mzazi. Now, we don't know if he's going and dropping his teammate or if Precious Mohale is just backing off because he's not allowed to finish the race. Again, there are those splits at 2:40 at this, from 5 to 6 kilometers, 2:47 from 6 to 7. So there you can just see the impact of that downhill. And between 8 and 9, we're over 3 minutes a K again. So very, very tough course this, and very difficult to maintain a fast rhythm.
Into the last kilo now, Gladwin Mzazi is stamping his authority. He knows it's back. There's a big gap between him and the guys that are following him, that is Collen Mailola as well as Lucky Mohale. And I'm not sure what incentive would he be going for to break a sub 30.
Well, I'll tell you what, he quite clearly wants to see where he's at as Gladwin Mzazi, and sub 30, he might just sneak it. And I tell you what though, that this young lady has a PB of 37.05. That's gone. I guarantee that she's gone faster than 37, and she should be on your elite squad for 2015. And certainly something to look forward to, new blood coming through for you guys.
Certainly. I can only wish her luck. But back to Mzazi as well as the race formalities. There is an incentive of 500 rands for any male athlete that breaks 29 minutes. And it could be that Mzazi is going for that if he's firing with all cylinders, like we saw him do Manfred. What's your take?
There we go, Kataza going past the 8 kilometre mark in 28.17, so she is flying, and I suppose chasing the back markers now will help her, but she's got something to chase, so that's pretty good. You said an incentive of 500 rand, was that for sub 29 or sub 30?
Sub 29.
Well, I don't think Gladwin's going to come anywhere near that. He's not in that kind of shape so early in the season, and on this course to run a sub 29, I think that is a steep ask unless you're in really, really good shape, and you've got a lot of guys pushing for that time. But I do like the look of this young lady of yours at Transnet, Kataza Shipalana, looking very, very strong. She is defending champion, but this is quite intriguing. She's been flighting along so nicely and just pulls up lame a bit here. Still looking good in terms of time, but that could be a bit of a dent in her ambitions.
It is a bit of a slow climb from the main gate of Weskoppies up until to the venue, and I can see she's looking at her time, so she still wants to work towards that target of 37.30, and I think she might be thinking is comfortably in the back and she doesn't need to kill herself any further.
Well, I've always maintained that when an athlete or a runner stops and walks a bit, they've lost a bit of their rhythm and something's not quite right. She seems to have picked it up again quite okay. Looking strong again as she's coming through. She'll see on her right hand side pretty soon. She should be seeing the finish line area, but still a fair way to go, probably around about 2 kilometers or so for her left, and she has to dig deep here. This is not easy. As Gladwin Mzazi comes in for the win. Is he going to break 30? And indeed he does. So Gladwin Mzazi, good outing on his first outing for 2015.
Great stuff indeed. 29.57 unofficial. It's yet to be confirmed, but he has broken the sub 30, just missing out by a minute on the incentive of 500 rands for the 29. But by the way, Manfred, the same incentive applies to the ladies as well. 500 rand for the ladies, that makes sub 35. Do you think Shipalana will do that?
Well, if a personal best is a 37.05, that's more than 2 minutes off it. That's a big ask, and you can see now she really is struggling. She went out very, very hard in the early stages of the race. I do hope that she's still able to break 37 high, 36 high, that she actually does get a 36 low. If she can even get under 36, it'd be phenomenal for her. It'd be a massive improvement. I don't think she was ever chasing that 500 rand, because that is a massive improvement in your personal best. And 2 minutes over 10 kilometers, that's fast. She's not that far off now. Now a bit of a stretch going downhill to just relax the legs. And here comes our second man. It is indeed Lucky Mohale, who crosses the line in second place.
Still peeping over his shoulder as usual. And third is Collen Mailola, and just behind Collen coming in fourth and just missing out on the podium is Samuel Sehwaba, all the way from Bloemfontein.
Yes. And the surname? M-O-H-A-L-E. H-A-L-E. What club?
No club.
Huh? None. No club. Okay. Yeah, right. You are third. 5-4.
How tough was that?
Yeah, the course is tough. Yeah.
Are you happy with your run?
Yeah, I'm happy because I was doing 30 Ks yesterday, so I'm happy about how I ran.
Okay, and you pushed the pace early on a little bit. Legs come off a bit. I see you walked and you came back again.
Yeah, I wanted them to run fast so that I can go for a win.
Cool. Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Well, he wanted to go for a win. I'm afraid he really did. There was work cut out for him against Gladwin Mzazi, but I love watching Lucky Mohale. He's always so aggressive, and you know you're going to have an honest race. But Shipalana looking like she's found her second wind again, looking stronger, looking good. On her right-hand side, you can see the finish line field, so they're going to do a loop. It's just under a kilometre now before she gets onto the grass patch, and there's no doubt that she will win this race. There's no one anywhere near her.
Absolutely, the race is backed. What remains to be answered is the incentive time of 35 minutes or the qualifying elite time of 37:13 to be in the Transnet team. And rightfully so, 100% agreed with you, Manfred. Once you run and you stop, you're beginning to lose it mentally and you lose the momentum. It's not a good sign at all.
Well, the clock is just under 33 minutes. She hasn't got that far to go. Maybe she can still break 36 minutes. And there comes Ludwig Mamabola, the Comrades Marathon runner. And great to see him here. I always love watching him race. Fantastic sights there. There's Shadrach Hoff. What an amazing champion. Such longevity on the road. Still the South African champion. Record holder in the 5,000 meters. Remember, he said that a long time ago, 1995, I think it was. Here's our leading lady, and she is very, very close to the finish line now. And this is going to be hurting. This is very, very sore. She knows she hasn't got far to go. She is on course for a PB. I have no doubt in my mind that she is going to break 37 minutes and probably come 36 low. But can she break 35? Well, 36. We'll find out soon enough. But let's see what Gladwin Mzazi had to say after his win.
I enjoyed the race. It was a bit challenging, but with my training partner, Precious Mashele, I enjoyed it very much. It was a bit challenging there because of the uphills, but during December training camp, we did some of the hills work when I was still doing my morning run, so I enjoyed it a lot.
I always laugh when athletes say they enjoyed a run and you see how hard they worked. But hats off to Gladwin Mzazi. It's a good win, it's a comfortable win, and very, very ominous for the year ahead if you can maintain this form. Now then, Kataza Shipalana, she's not far away at all. The clock is just under 34 minutes and 20 seconds. A sub 36 on the cards?
Half a second to go, Manfred, before she grabs, if any, the incentive of 500 rands for the sub 35.
Well, I can't see her doing that. She's still got a fair bit of running to do. It's probably around about 500-600 meters or so before she gets into the finish straight there. And she's going to have her work cut out for her. But this has been a good run by her. I think you guys can be very proud. And it's a big, big step up for her. So 2015 should be very interesting for Kataza Shipalana and certainly for Transnet.
Well, 35 minutes into the race, so we're clearly missing out on the incentive of 500 rands. But is she going to make the 37:30? And according to your projections, Manfred, you are positive that she's going to make it. And it's a solitary effort. She's running all on her own here.
Today I experienced, I was training sub 30 minutes and I prepared for essay trials on the 31 January. I'm looking to win essay trial because I was preparing hard. This I plans to go the World Champ cross country and then 21 kilometer World Champ.
Well, she's around the corner from the finish, Shipalana, and looks to me she's broken 36 seconds. It's a mass 36 minutes. It's a massive PB though. It's huge.
Brilliant stuff by Kataza Shipalana. Solitary effort. She ran all alone from the 5th kilometer bank up until to the finish. She broke the 37:30 that she was aiming for. She is in the elite team. Second overall, Riana van Niekerk, comrades, multiple gold medalists, under pressure because all South Africans will be looking up to her to bring gold home.
Well, that's fantastic effort there by Hanli Etsebeth, the youth athlete, finishing in 3rd.
Firstly, what I can say, the route was fine, the race, I enjoyed it, but then the course was very, very tough. And then mostly what I can say is, as much as it's January, I just wanted to come and see how's the performance so far, because I've been training during the festive season, so I just wanted to see what time am I going to run today.
What was your time?
So far, I ran in Val. There's a race in Val called Digani's Race. I ran 37:07. So today I'm not so sure about the time, roughly 36, the late 36. So I'm happy with it. Whoa, so far as mostly we know the route. I thought the route was coming the way it was last year. So unfortunately I saw the race going up there. So that's when I was kind of like, I'm so exhausted. And then I gave up. So that's when I decided to jog. This year my plans is running PBs from track, road, cross country. Yes, hoping for the best.
Die wedloop was ongelooflik, eerste wedloop van die jaar. Ek's baie trots. Ek het 'n PB gehardloop. Dit was bietjie taaf, daar was 'n groot wild geweest, maar ons het dit gedoen en dit was 'n baie great race, baie goed georganiseer, ja. My planne is om 'n goeie atletiek seisoen te hê. Ek het goeie planne vir tye wat ek wil hardloop. Ek wil graag SA's gaan hardloop, dalk 'n medalje daar kry. En ek wil ook die landloop trials in Januarie gaan hardloop en ook kyk wat gebeur met die landloopseisoen.
Well, then top 3 men, Gladwin Mzazi, just under 30 minutes, 29:56. He'll be happy with this effort so early in the season. Lucky Mohale, 31:03. That's a fair bit behind, and Collen Mailola just 4 seconds behind that. But certainly on the ladies' side, Aaron, you've got to be happy with Kataza Shipalana and her race under 36 minutes.
Personal best 35:59. Next, just behind her, Riana van Niekerk. She's more of an ultra runner. So for Riana to be able to run comfortably below 4 minutes a kilo and clock 37:53 is brilliant stuff indeed. And how about the 3rd overall? She is a junior, Hanli Etsebeth, 38:06, also comfortably below 4 minutes a kilo for this junior. I think she's got a bright future, Manfred.
Well, that's it then from myself, Manfred, Seidler and Mabena for the first of the Great Run series of 2015. Stay tuned to Backtrack when we're bringing you more of this fantastic series.